All right, so today we're going to do the first lesson of chapter 4. It's all about classifying triangles. So there are two ways to classify triangles: by how long the sides are compared to one another, and by the angle measures. So we're going to learn both of those ways today. And then there's one other little extra thing at the end. Before you freak out, you are only going to write down 2 of these vocabulary words. The first one and the last one. Everything else in the middle will get in your notes, but in like a table format, a little easier to understand. So don't worry about any of these. Just get the definition of triangle and vertex, and then we'll make a chart for classifying by side length. That's the first 3 I crossed out. We'll make another chart classifying by angle measure. That's the next 4. So like I said, you'll end up with those words. You're not going to miss anything. We're just going to put it a little differently, okay? So you guys all know what a triangle is. It's a 3-sided figure. There's a more formal definition for you. So basically you connect 3 points that are not on the same line and you end up with a triangle. And then the part of the triangle where 2 sides meet, that point is called a vertex. So a triangle has 3 vertices is the plural, but vertex is the singular. So once we get some basic vocab out of the way, we'll talk about how we're going to classify these things. This is the first way we're going to talk about classifying triangles. So we're going to classify by the sides. So go ahead and write that heading. And then here are the 3 different ways. So you can make a little table or you can just list them. But the 3 ways are: if all 3 sides are congruent, we call it equilateral. If 2 of them are congruent, we call it isosceles. If none of the sides match, we call it scalene. So you need all this information. What we call it, a quick picture, label the sides accordingly, and then a description. So when you're classifying by the sides, you want to ask yourself, how many of the sides are congruent? In the first one, none of those are congruent. We call it a scalene triangle. In the second triangle, all of them are congruent. When all of them match, we call it an equilateral triangle. In the third one, do you see how 2 of them match? We call it an isosceles. I can slow down. So, if all 3 match, equilateral. 2 of them match, isosceles. None of them match, scalene. Those are the only 3 options for sides. When we classify by angles, you will have 4 options. So that's a little trickier. Still not too bad, though. Do you have any questions? We're going to look at a few more examples, but these are the ones I want you to have in your notes. So make sure you have the picture and the answer. Yes.
Remember the names is very important.
Yes, definitely. Just what you saw on the table. So if 3 of them are the same, equa means like equal, right? Equilateral. 2 of them isosceles, 3 scalene, or none of them match scalene. I don't have any memory tricks. I would just memorize it. Any questions?
So, equilateral all have the same number.
Equilateral, all 3
match.
match.
All the same is isosceles.
Isosceles.
And all different numbers are scalene.
Mm-hmm.
That's simple. That's so easy.
Okay. Here is the second way to classify. Classify by angles. So I want you to write this chart in your notes as well. Now we're looking at the measure of the angles.
You want to write that?
I want you to put all of this in your notes. Yes. Same idea that when they all match, it's an equa. So if all the angles match, it's an equa, but now it's an equiangular. And then from there, it just depends on the measure of the biggest one. So if none of them are bigger than 90, it's an acute. If one of them is exactly 90, we call it a right. If the biggest one is bigger than 90, we call it an obtuse. One obtuse angle makes it a whole obtuse triangle. One right angle makes it a right triangle. Okay? It's actually impossible to make a triangle that has more than one right or obtuse. But anyway, you just look at that biggest angle is going to be the giveaway. All right, so the first one of the four options we just wrote down. Right. There is one right angle, so that makes the whole triangle a right triangle. Good. Number 2.
Equilateral. Whatever you were saying.
Equiangular. Good. This one's kind of tricky. A lot of people want to say acute because they're all less than 90, but if they're all the same, it's equiangular. Okay? Even if they're all less than 90. And just a hint for you, all equiangulars, they'll all be 60. So if you see all of them as 60, don't put acute. That's not right. It's equiangular. All right, part C, what do you think? Are they all the same?
No.
Are any of them 90?
No.
Are any of them bigger than 90?
No.
What's the only other option? Acute. Good. Do you have any questions? All right, we'll look at another slide of these, but you don't need to write those down. Let's just do a little bit of additional practice. So in number 5, this one right, whoops. This guy right here, do you see how they're all marked the same? When they're all marked the same, that means they're all congruent. And what do we call it? Equiangular. Good. Now, quick little hint about the homework. It has you do sides and angles at the same time. So let's say that it was marked like that. You could also say what? And equilateral. Good. So if it asks for both, make sure you do one from the chart where it was by sides and one from the chart by angles. Okay? By angles, what do you have for number 6? The biggest angle is 120. So this is what type of triangle?
Acute. Obtuse.
Obtuse. Good. And I'll only make us do that on this one. Just be aware, though, on the homework you have to do both.
Do what? Do both for what?
Like, it'll say by angles and by sides. So, like, let's say this one was like 3, 7, 9. You would say,
What would I say?
what would you say? If all the sides were different, you would say scalene. Yeah.
Oh, well, I didn't know what we was talking about.
Yeah, that's what I mean by both on the homework. It'll
Oh.
say classify by angles and by sides.
Oh, okay.
But here they're not giving us the side lengths, so. All right, number 7. Are any of them bigger than 90?
No.
Are they all the same?
No.
No, so that leaves us with just acute. Questions? All right, there's one more thing you're going to see in your homework tonight. So go ahead and draw this real quick. We will do part A, part B, and part C. It's pretty simple, but still worth going over. All right, so here we're practicing naming the side that's opposite the angle. So if I want the side opposite angle J, I start at angle J and I go across. So across from J is this side right here. Sides of triangles are line segments. This would be segment LK. Okay? So across from angle K, what do I have? Segment LJ. Good. Make sure you're doing the segment symbol. Across from angle L is KJ. Good. So like I said, pretty straightforward, but still worth noting. Any questions? What did we learn about today? Today we learned about classifying. Thank you.